A moment, if you'll indulge me. I know most of you people. I know even the ones who left.
Talk into the microphone,
homes.
Gene, please.
I've been to your homes. We've been to functions together. I know you and like you. Some of you I'm still friendly with, or I hope I am. Obviously, not Mike and Janet
Gene,
right now.
you need to talk into the microphone.
Not Mike and Janet right now, but maybe that'll change. I don't know where the idea came from that I, personally, want to eliminate the chamber. It has never been true. It isn't true. There is no personal vendetta. I have a policy funding issue. That's all I'm here about. That was all it ever was. And I'm a little astounded that somehow it has been turned into, we want to kill the chamber. That just simply isn't true. The chamber does every single good thing you people all just said. It helps you every day in your small businesses. And that's what it's supposed to do. And I'm proud that it does that. I wish the other people were still here. You know, the Constitution was written to protect the rights of the minority. And since I am the Jean-Luc Picard against the Borg, or Tyrion Lannister in Westeros, or better yet, the ant at the picnic, I will get back to what I came for. And hopefully you will see where my policy funding disagreement is. And it's not that I want the chamber to go away. Excuse me. I gave you a handout, a packet, earlier, and in that one there were comparisons of various cities within the Inland Empire, with the sole exception of the city of Santa Ana. So I want to make sure you know that that's a different comparison sheet than the one that I guess Joe brought something entirely different. But mine is the one that shows Santa Ana, Riverside, Rancho Cucamonga, Ontario, Corona, Chino, Orange, Temecula Valley, and Menifee Valley. And that's number 1 in the handout that I gave. Our Corona Chamber, God bless them, is a revenue-raising juggernaut. Make no mistake, our chamber is not poor or needing welfare. Our chamber raises revenue, with the exception of the city of Riverside. And because I've included Santa Ana, and I'll get to that in a second, we raise more, double, triple, quadruple more than any other chamber. It is a financial success at $1 million a year. If you're a small business in Corona, your investment in the chamber is well worthwhile. Now, you will pay for everything else you go to, primarily, which is how things run. That's just how it's done. I understand that. So even if you're a tiny cog, a small business in the wheel of the chamber, there are services you can utilize. If you're a medium cog or a large cog, you'll pay a lot more. Fine, $1 million a year. Now, if you'll look at the last page, number 10 of the handout I gave you, you will see that I'm surprised that the one thing we lost money on, that no other city in the comparisons I gave you lost money on, were the 2 fundraisers we held last year, the golf tournament and Monte Carlo. We lost money. The name of that is fundraising. Possibly they are working so hard, they just overstretched themselves in effort. I'm certain they worked hard on those. A Supreme Court judge many years ago, in a ruling on a very difficult case, said this: I don't know how to define this issue, but I'll know it when I see it. Well, that's how I feel about economic development. I think the chamber does fabulous work supporting small businesses and all the events that it holds. I submit that the Corona Chamber of Commerce, though, is not involved currently, has not been involved in economic development the way our city needs economic development. The chamber tax return, which is number 2 in the handout, says their purpose, and I quote, is to promote and encourage business in the city of Corona. They do that. They live up to that. If you turn to page 2 of that number 2 handout, every description of their duties, they provide opportunities for members to promote. They provide opportunities for members to network. They provide opportunities for members to advertise. They do all that. That's absolutely correct. They do. But that's not necessarily economic development and funding from taxpayer dollars. There's also attached here, and that's why you'll see this, the city of Santa Ana was on here. The city of Santa Ana's description of their business is to broker community solutions that create economic growth. Item number 3, if you turn the page to page 2, you will read 3 things they describe themselves as. One of them is a scholarship. They develop a workforce in key industries and educational programs, first of its kind. You can read all that. I don't have to read it for you. They have a massive program in their city of education, workforce development, key industries. Over $403,000 of the money they raise in item number 1, if you look at Santa Ana, goes to that. That's economic development, to my mind. Maybe not everybody else's. I'm just one person. I submit to you that raising $1 million a year does not indicate financial need. I think the chamber might do better without you, frankly. I think they don't know it, but they would. And I am going to bring up something, lastly, that's a little difficult, but why not? For too long, our situation in Corona has been unique. We have a long-term, public service-minded council member as a council member, and we have the head of the chamber being her husband. God bless him, hard-working, involved in the city. They are almost, though, indistinguishable one from the other now. The bright line that is to separate them has been blurred. It occasionally even breaks apart or is eliminated. If you remember the budget workshop a few weeks ago, Karen, in her desire to talk about economic development, talked about the Corona Chamber. That's completely wrong. I can't think of another word. It shouldn't be. There's no mixing there. If the chamber is apples and the city is oranges, I'm not in favor of a fruit salad here. There becomes a blurring that creates almost an assumptive ownership of how you get things done. People are well aware there's a cachet with the chamber, with the city. They're so tight that people know they have to go and do whatever they're asked. Council members, maybe this relationship needs to be rethought. And only you can do that. Your vote is what will do that, one way or another. And your decision is your decision. I have no objection to that. I never did. I know you've been heavily lobbied, and I see the good people that came out today. The chamber's excellent at doing that. And everything they said was so heartfelt. Frankly, if they separate, the city can hire vendors for state-of-city events. They can hire business, they can do Business Expo. They can hire the chamber if they're the lowest responsible bid. And the chamber would then get to bid on all the work they're going to do. I submit that these two entities, the city and the chamber, will be more effective if possibly kept separate. They'll gain a synergy by working as independents. We need to stop putting taxpayer money, in my opinion, into an organization that raises plenty of money and should be a standalone entity. Treat the city's economic development department like the professional component of the city of Corona that it is. Hire a consultant if you need to. Economic development is entirely designed to bring business, large-size, medium-sized business, to the city. The Corona Chamber of Commerce does very good work in our city. It's been a force for good in Corona. And it's a bridge to business, especially small business. But if the chamber is the apple and the city is the orange, it is your determination and your vote which will determine whether we continue to mix these things or separate them. Dick said it, it's not a personal issue. It's not about being friends. It's not about not being friends. It's a decision that has to be made as to a policy and a funding. The handout I gave you has more things on it that I'm not going to take up all your time now. I'm hoping you will read them and perhaps inquire on them. I know Jason handed it out at one point. Hey, I've had those days. I'm having it right now. Our family attorney once told me something when we were in a meeting, and I didn't have an answer for something, and I was stumbling and fumbling around, as you want to do sometimes when you really want to give an answer. And this is what he said to me, and I have not forgotten it. Jean, no one has ever been permanently damaged by saying these words, "Let me get back to you." I'm asking you to get back on this, to think this through, to think about city money, taxpayer money, always allowing that you know how beneficial the chamber is to the small businesses and the groups in Corona. I thank you for your time.
Thank you.